All right, Shalom. All praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachal Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to the hopeful elect Akim that teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachal Kodash. So this is a video here. It says that I saw on YouTube. I was watching it last night. And it says Ottoman royals after the fall. So basically the video goes into the fall of the Ottoman Empire, you know, from basically pretty much from like the 1900s onwards, so up to the World War I and II, and how the royal families of the Ottoman Empire, how they were dispersed basically. The so-called royals of that period, you know, they were dispersed all throughout Europe, etc. And then pretty much Turkey came into like a democracy, yeah, and left from its old ways, but basically left from its old ways of the Islamic Caliphate, etc. Because the Ottoman Empire, they were like one of the first empires to basically they weren't not one of the first, they were the first. They were the first combined Edomite peoples that basically, because the Ottomans are basically, the Turks are Edomites, all right, that converted to Islam, all right. Then they're Amalekites that converted to Islam, and another sect of them converted to Judaism, all right. But basically, the Ottomans, they were a unified group of Turkic Edomites that basically conquered Constantinople, all right. They conquered the Holy Roman Empire. Constantine, the kings that were sitting on those seats at the time, and they conquered us. They sacked Constantinople, all right, and they took it over. So basically, this video was going into basically the end of their kingdom, and I'm gonna play a little bit of it, but it's really the comments that I was. There's a few comments here. I think it's these ones, right? Well, there you go. So this is the comment here. There's a comment here from 6 days ago. It says, "Empires rise and fall. That is a fact of life. History's full of falling empires, even at present time." And someone commented, "Agreed. The time may be up for the USA after 250 years." All right, which is basically the 200 plus mark is pretty much the allotted time most kingdoms, you know, the allotted time most kingdoms stay in power for, basically, before they're brought down. So it says, "Agreed." That this is the point the points I wanted to get really was the comments about the comments about America, basically. Oh, where is it here? "I see that most Europeans here still call us barbarians first. Look at what you have done to your own colonies." Okay, so hold on. Bear with me a second, Salakia. Yeah, this is the comments I wanted to get. "Empires rise and fall. That is a fact of life. History is full of fallen empires, even at present time. Agreed, the time may be up for the USA after 250 years. Someone said, "Who do you think why do you think the USA's time is up? Who do you think is going to take over?" So people are questioning. But basically, they're saying America's going to fall, because this whole video, when you go into it, is basically I'm not going to play the video. I just wanted to really read from the comments, and I've got some scriptures. But that whole video was going into basically the fall of the Ottoman Empire, how the royals of that time were dispersed into different parts of Europe and just phased out, basically. And they're still alive today. Those people are still alive today. But it goes into how the new Turkish Republic was born, etc. But this is the comments that I was reading. It says, why do you think the USA's time is up? Who do you think is going to take over? Yeah, because everyone can see, because the USA, the United States of America, which is in the Bible as Babylon the Great, or Mystery Babylon, right, is written in the Bible, you know, it is in the Bible. All empires of note were written in the scriptures, all right? And America is no different. America is in the Bible. It's just known as Mystery Babylon. That's Babylon the Great. And it's time for America to fall, according to the scriptures, because it's fulfilled prophet. It's It's all about fulfilling prophecy, man. Okay? America was risen up for a period of time, okay, to be the superpower of the earth, okay, and to enslave the children of Israel, to enslave the Negro, the Latino, the Native American people, you know, to enslave our people. And we was to build their empire, the so-called white man's kingdom, and then they were going to go down, all right? And this is the time we're in. We're in the time of the fall of America. So, and the Ottoman Empire, which is Edomite, the Turkish Edomites, they were basically one of the first to bring us down. All right. And then you fast forward to today, to the American Edomite. So the Ottomans sacked Constantinople, I believe, in like the 1400s or the late 1300s, when they first sacked Constantinople. All right. So Esau, the Edomites, the so-called white people, have been ruling ever since then up until today. Right? So they've been ruling. So, and someone else here said, yep, and the US is on its way out. Someone said, all right. And then someone said, people jealous of America's hegemony have been praying for that for several decades, yet the US still makes up 26% to 27% of the global GDP, about the same as throughout the 1970s to the 2000s, and more than during the 2010s. 37 of the top 50 companies in the world are American. The US dominates in technological innovation. American companies' total valuation is high. So basically, people, this is someone still. Oh my days. So this is someone obviously talking about statistics as to why America is still strong. But Spirit, they said 1970s. The 1970s was really when America began to fall. All right. That was the time of the Vietnam War. Salaki, I'm going to get into the scriptures, but I'm just commenting on some of these comments. But the 1970s was the time America was really beginning to fall. All right, during the time of the Vietnam War, towards the end of it, and then all the drugs came into America. From then it was falling. The drugs came into America after the Vietnam War. They had the space race. What did the Lord say when they reach up into heaven? Thence will He bring them down. Talking about the Edomites. So that was really the spiritual time the Lord began to pull America down to what we have today, all right? To where America, Babylon the Great, is pretty much one of the most despised, it is the most despised country in the world, along with the state of Israel, all right? And it's the spirit, because America and Israel are one in the same. So someone even here said, in science, technology, and infrastructure, China makes the USA look like a third-rate nation. And when you consider the dismal statistics on home ownership, universal healthcare, the number of people below poverty level, infant mortality, and motherhood mortality, the USA is a ragtag society compared to all other democracies. And that's very true. The USA has fallen. America has fallen. China has surpassed America, just like this comment said. And if people looked at this thing in a carnal way, you'd think China was going to rule next. But no, the next rulers are going to be the Israelites. All right. The people of Negro, Latino, Native, Indian descent are going to be the next rulers of this planet Earth. Okay. But this person does make a great point. America's fallen, man. The poverty, the drugs, you know, you can bet it's hard to own homes now. All right. You know, you don't get no bang for your buck no more, man. You're working and you still feel like you ain't got enough money. And you see people talking about that in America all the time. So people are hurting, man. Okay. So let me read this here, but it's fallen because it's time. It's basically time. Okay. Let me read this here. Actually, I'll start at Jeremiah 51 because it's time. The reason why America is falling because it's scriptural. It's time for it to fall. Okay. It's time for it to go down. Okay. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. That's talking about America, man. And how did America make the earth drunk? It made the earth drunk through democracy, all right, through its policies. And how does America implement democracy? Through war. They go into a country, they destroy the nation, destabilize it, set up puppet leaders, keep it destabilized, and then that country now is infiltrated with American democracy. Women's liberation, LGBTQ within the society. Okay, same thing they did in Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. They came in there, pillaged the country, set up puppet leaders, and then they basically pushed democracy. They pushed the wickedness that is in America. They'll push in these other countries, all right? And while they're doing that, they're simultaneously draining those nations of the resources. So this is what America has done. So it's been that golden cup. It's been decadent. America has had its time when it was at its height, which was really like, you know, the 1950s, 1930s, 40s and 50s. America was at its height, all right? It was barely in war. I mean, they did participate in World War and stuff, but American shores, people was living well. The white picket fence, etc. You know, that spirit, that happy day spirit. But that time's over. So it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Yeah, Babylon is suddenly fallen and is destroyed. Yeah, so it's gonna be destroyed by nuclear missiles. This is the scripture talking about its downfall. How for her take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. Yeah, if so be she may be healed. Yeah, but what did the Lord say here? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yeah, so there is no healing for America, man. It's time to go down. It's allotted time to go down. All right? We're living in the twilight of American society. Okay? That's why the world's turning against America. The world's turning really against America and the state of Israel. And, you know, the world's looking at you, Americans, the system, the politics, the system, the Edomites as the bad guys. Because it's your time to fall now. You've had your height. You've had Negroes and slavery. You stole the land from the Indians. All right, it's stolen land. Okay? Wherever Esau dwells, but particularly America, is stolen land, all right? There's nothing positive and good about that place. It's stolen land. So the Lord's now getting ready to judge it. And he set you up to punish us, and now he's going to bring you down. All right? Every kingdom rises and every kingdom falls. Every kingdom rises, every kingdom falls. The only kingdom that's set to last forever is the kingdom of heaven. That's it. All the other nations, the heathen nations, they've had their times and they're falling, like the so-called white man. The Edomites had his time, he's now falling. All right? It says, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. For his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Who's the Medes? The Medes today represents the Medo-Persians, which is what you call today Iranians. And aren't they coming against America right now? Yes, they are. But this is talking about the climax, the destruction, the nuclear missiles that's going to hit that America. Because there is going to be a nuclear war, and that is going to be how this current system falls, all right? This current empire falls. Every empire has risen and every empire has fallen. Babylon is no different, okay? Which is America. So let me read this here. Okay, bear with me a second. This is Daniel 4 and 17. Daniel 4 and 17. I just pretty much saw those comments. That's really what I wanted to do the video on. But that channel is pretty good because it goes into fallen empires and etc. What happened to the rulers and how they become merged into modern society, etc. Which is pretty interesting. So this is Daniel 4:17. This matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. And that's what the Lord's done. He controls kingdoms. Yeah? See, what you don't understand is, you know, because Esau don't teach you this in his schools. Whenever there's a people ruling and a nation on top, and they're the people that everyone looks to for technology, for whatever it is, for, you know, they're the image of they're on top basically. Like right now, the so-called white man's on top. His image is on top of the world. Well, the Lord set you up. The Lord sets up every kingdom. All right, you go back in time, the Persian Empire, East Indians, the Elam were ruling at one point. Pakistanis, Bengalis, those people was actually ruling at one point. All right. You go back to different Hamite nations, the Canaanites, they were ruling at one point. All right. So everyone's had their turns to rule. Every nation has had their turn to rule. And the Israelites are the up next. See, the next world, the everlasting world is only promised to the Israelites. Everlasting kingdom is promised to the Israelites, which is the Negro, Latino, Native American descent, the real descendants of Jacob. But what you got to understand is, like it says here, that the Lord set the intent of the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will. So the Heavenly Father is the ultimate ruler. He gives the earth, which is the kingdom is the earth, and he gives it to whichever people he chooses to for a period of time, which he's given it to the so-called white man this period of time. Okay? The Edomites. Whomsoever he will and setteth up over it the basis of men. And Esau, the so-called white man, is the basis of men. The lowest of all men, the Lord gave it to. Showing you there's a power in the heavens because he gave. Showing you there's a power in the heavens because he gave this world to the lowest of all men. All right, he gave it to the lowest of all men, which is the Edomite. Okay, but he's about now to bring him down because he's done. See, Esau has done what he's supposed to do. What was the mission of the so-called white man? It was basically destroy, enslave the Israelites. Pillage the planet Earth. Set up America, take America from the natives, which is our people, the Gadites, and then basically establish this world that we're in today, the new world order. Basically, this was what he was set up to do. He was created to be the wicked for a purpose, but in the end of the movie, so to speak, is the Lord destroys him. Okay, the Lord destroys him in the end. So this is Revelation 18 from the top says, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Yeah, because this is the future of America. Babylon the great is fallen. Okay? And then it's going into basically, the unclean, the animals that can basically survive that nuclear missile. Okay? And it says, for all the nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, so all the nations have participated with America. The Chinese, the Japanese, the East Indians, everyone's participated. All the heathens have participated to get rich with America. They've conspired to get rich with America at the expense of the Israelites. Okay? So this is the future. The revelation is talking about the judgment of America. This near future that we're living in. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Lord have remembered her iniquities. Yeah, that's the come out of her, my people, is talking about when Yahweh Shai and the angels beam the Israelites up in the chariots, the ships, what Esau calls the UFOs. We're going to get beamed up in them. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Lord have remembered her iniquity. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she have filled, fill to her double. This is talking about America. So double the judgment. Really, the so-called white man, his system, basically. We're going to reward them double what they did to us. America's establishment was a punishment for our people. But our punishment is almost up. And what the Lord's going to do, he's going to reverse it and let us now punish them. And that's righteousness. That's called a righteous balance and a judgment. See, we're going to punish Esau in righteousness. But first, his kingdom's got to go down. All right, which we're living in. His empire's got to fall. All right, which is the time we're in now. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachal Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the hopeful elect Arkim teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachal Kodash. Shalom, shalom.